Hey everyone, Revan here, and welcome back to Feed the Beast University, where today we're going to be getting into a little bit of blood magic. So sit back, enjoy the video, and let's see what we can't get done. All right, so we are over here next to our welcome center, and I just kind of cleared out a little bit of an area, flattened it out, filled some stuff in, and just made it all around pretty. In order to clear this, I used, let me see if I actually have this in here, this guy right here, Horn of the Wild. So this is something that I knew existed and I couldn't remember what it was. So thank you for the comment telling me what it was. But yeah, it's gonna clear out pretty much any glass. It doesn't do a whole good job of breaking all the flowers, but eventually I think it will. So some flowers will remain, but for the most part it gets everything. So yeah, that's what I used for that, and it is a lifesaver. I will tell you that. In between episodes, I also did the secondary stage of the Guardian or the Gaia Guardian. I did finally beat it. I didn't record it because I tried recording about 5 or 6 times and I died 5 or 6 times, and then I died a few more times, and then the one time I actually did manage to get it in a recording, I was using shaders because I was messing around with the shaders again, and the shaders and the Gaia Guardian don't get along. So the Gaia Guardian was invisible and there was a whole bunch of other light glitches and stuff like that it didn't transfer well. But I did end up getting the Ring of Odin, which gives us a whole bunch of buffs. Like, we no longer take fall damage, we no longer take fire damage, couple other types of damage, plus it gives us an extra 20 hearts, which I think is being overshadowed by the fact that we have a personal Nano Beacon running over here. So I made a tier 6 solar panel, and I made the Nano Beacon. So I now have strength 4, resistance 4, regen 4, saturation 4, and health boost 4, plus the 20 hearts that the Ring of Odin is giving me. So that was really the only reason I was able to beat the Gaia Guardian. I didn't include this in the episode because it really was just me tossing the recipe into the applied energistics and saying, hey, make me up like 160 of the tier 6 structure frames. And then I placed one block and held the assembler. So not really, once you've seen it once, you've seen it all for pretty much all of the machines. So we still have our level 5 void miner over here, ore miner, our resource miner. I'm sorry, this is the botanical miner, and then the personal Nano Beacon. And then I did make a few updates over to our storage facility over here. So this is what we're getting from the resource miner, plus we have some open walls. But the downside, as you can see here, from the botanical miner is apparently there are like 9,000 different types of wood in this pack. And yes, so I am just kind of occasionally coming down here and pulling these guys out, and then what I have to do is just kind of try to put them into their own individual place. But it just seems like every time you make a little bit of progress, that is being just eaten up by something else. So, and we still have all of these things that need to get run through. So we'll just push that back here for now. And then as things in between episodes, I'll probably tear down these center ones and just make it a full wall, and that will give me a decent amount more spots. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking of just getting rid of it and just going to something like one of the tree farms or something like that, because the only reason I did it was for wood. I just wasn't expecting there to be like 8,000 different variants of trees in this pack, and each variant of tree has like a fireproof variant, which, woo, yeah, But anyways, other thing I did, I made the stellar armor. So the stellar armor is, I mean, once you have everything automated, once you have an alloy furnace and stuff automated, it really wasn't all that bad. So the stellar ingot is just going to be another star, melodic alloy, and some clay. The melodic alloy is just end steel with popped chorus fruit. So yeah, wasn't too hard to make a stack of that and then just make the armor. And then I just put mending protection 4 on a couple of them, and then projectile protection and blast protection, and then just bump these all up to empowered 5 so that I can hold more energy. So currently 95% of the damage that I'm tanking is being absorbed by energy. But yeah, like I said, today, the plan is to take this chicken out, and all right, episode finished. Now, right. Today's plan is to get into blood magic. So blood magic, from everything that I can tell, doesn't really have many uses to it. So if we come into our little JEI over here, so the entire mod, even though the mod is, it can take a little bit to get through, the entire mod is less than 1 page worth of items. So most of the stuff we're going to get from blood magic is going to be just a couple different variants of building blocks. The tools in on themselves, they're nothing special. The armor, yeah, doesn't really get us a whole heck of a lot. So yeah, this is kind of one of those, this is, how to put it, this is one of those mods that I would call a filler mod. A lot of packs will toss us into it so that you have something in the magic realm, air quotes there, to actually work on in between, you know, doing a bunch of technical stuff, grinding for resources and all that. This is really just kind of there to keep you busy. It does, like I said, give you a few different variants of building blocks, but other than that, it's not going to give anything fantabulous. You know, you're not going to have like an uber pickaxe or sword or something like that you're going to get from this. So, you know, it's not overly difficult to get through, and it can be somewhat interesting. So we are going to get into that this series. All right, so the first thing we need to get is Demonic Will, and we need to get some Rudimentary Snares, and then we can actually obtain Demonic Will. So in order to get the Demonic Will, you essentially, first off, while you're starting this, you need to make these Rudimentary Snares, hit a mob with it, then the mob kind of gets like a buff, so to speak, from the mod itself. And then when you take that mob out, it has a chance of dropping Demonic Will. So that's the first thing that we need to get into here. So let's just make up, I don't know, like a stack of these guys. And they only seem to stack to 16. So we'll make up a couple stacks. And then since it's almost nighttime, we will just wait for the sun to go down, let a couple things spawn over here, and we'll see what we can't get. All right, here is our first mobs. So I think we just need to right click this at it, and yeah, see how he's got those particles on him? Then just take them out. Yeah, and we got some Demonic Will right there. Don't think these guys, yeah, they didn't have anything, but so we got 1 Demonic Will. Each Demonic Will is going to drop with a certain roll for quality, and obviously the higher the number, the better. There he is. So let's see what we get from this one. So we have a 0.39 and a 0.74, which for all purposes right now is not going to make a big difference for us. So I'm just going to kind of go around, use the rest of these snares, and try to get ourselves just a few more of these wills, and then we'll sleep the night away. All right, and we are all done with the night. We got our will, and that gets us a couple more snares because we've already used all of our snares. The next thing that we want to get into is either a Blood Altar or a Hellfire Darkfire, which is just a Hellfire Forge. So it uses will to complete crafting recipes. So I don't believe that's one of the first things that we're going to get into. So let's go for the altar first. So the blood altar is going to be essentially a multi-block. It has, I think, like 5 or 6 different tiers. The first one is usually fairly straightforward. And this is where you're going to be doing, blood sacrifices, that kind of stuff, pumping blood into it to do most of the crafting for this mod. So what it uses is something called LP, or life points, and that's essentially blood. It says right there that it's got 5 tiers. It holds up to 10,000 megabuckets of life essence, and we need to use the sacrificial dagger nearby, which is essentially going to take some of our life force and insert it into the altar. So let's add these guys to the list of things that we need to make. Oh, there we go. All right, so altar. What are we missing here? Oh, and it doesn't like recognizing the will. So what I always recommend is go through your wills and try to find the lowest one. So 0.39 is really low, so we'll take that one out and we'll use that one. There is a benefit if you have a lot of will in something, because you can transfer it over into crystals. So the more will that's in a demonic will, or the higher the quality, the more it's going to transfer into one of the crystals. So the lower ones you kind of want to use for the crafting and everything like that. And this is just going to be quite clear glass or any type of glass, as you could say. So we'll just use this, and we can run this guy over here where we're going to set up our altar. There we go. And I am using the ender bowl. I didn't put multi-shot on it just because of the fact that seemed like it drastically reduced the range of the bow itself. So we'll just set that guy there for now. And what does it want us to do? So we need to make a Weak Blood Orb, is the first tier. Oh yeah, I forgot. We should probably do this. Make ourselves a new book since our tome went bye-bye. Yeah. We have bad days. It wasn't showing me I forgot how I had to do the tier 2 Gaia, Guardian of Gaia, and the book wasn't showing me for Britannia, so I threw it into the Elven portal, thinking that, maybe it was just a glitch and it needed to kind of get rethrown through or something, and it ate the book. So it ate all of my it ate all of my guides, but thankfully you can make all the guides, so we're just gonna have to kind of go through and redo these things as we do it. But yeah, the first thing that we need to do before we can even get into upgrading our altar here is making these blood orbs. So blood orbs allow you to store LP in your personal network. This is basically an abstract battery of sort is what it's saying. I'm reading it directly and I'm saying that's what it's saying. Anyways. Higher tier blood orb increases the max value. Of course, right clicking the blood orb deals 1 heart of damage and adds 200 LP to your network. You can also insert it into a blood altar after it's been bound to you, and it will absorb the LP into your network as well. Interesting. So you can bind it to yourself, toss it into it, and then apparently it will just take stuff from you. All right. So let's see what we need to do for a recipe here. We just need to toss a diamond in, and we need 2,000 LP. Now, the reason I wanted to set up the Nano Beacon before we did this is because if we come over here, if we look at this blood altar, right, we have 0 of 10,000 millibuckets in it. And if we come over here, it's not what I wanted to do. And it just essentially just right click on ourselves. You see how my hearts are going down? We are now looking at almost 7,000 millibuckets. So plus the regen, my health is already recharged. So I can kind of just sit here and spam this thing, take a couple seconds of breathing room, and just kind of keep doing it. And now, oh, we're 40 away. There we go. Really? Oh yeah, because it slowly eats it over time. All right, so now we just need to grab diamonds. Okay, We're in the game. I was able to pull diamonds out of the system. We're just gonna kind of do this. So I think we just gotta... There it is. So we have to right click it. Sorry, the game like crashed like 8 times every time I was pulling up this wireless crafting terminal. So yay. So much fun. But yeah, we're after our blood orb here. So where are you? Blood magic, blood orb. This is yeah, by the way, this is also the mod that very few people on YouTube actually do, because the name gets you demonetized. But that's also the perk of being a smaller YouTuber. It doesn't matter. The algorithm can't hurt me. But this is going to take a while, so I'm just going to hit this with a time in a bottle. And that should speed that up. Click that. We now have a Weak Blood Orb. This stores... Ow. Stores mana. I think that means it's bound to me. I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah. It says stores raw life essence. This is 76. If we toss it in there. Did this go up? No, that's taking my... Okay. So that takes blood from the blood altar. Huh. Doesn't say how much it's storing though. Anyways, anywho, I'm just kind of going off on a tangent here. We get an uncraftable potion. Oh, awesome. All right, so what else does it want? Blood booster. So an incense altar is a focal point for a multi-block that allows you to boost the power of your dagger for a time. Place it down on top of a 3x3 platform of any material. While near an incense altar, any dagger in your inventory will become incensed. Using an incense dagger will instantly remove 90% of your health, giving you an additional 20% LP per heart. So let's add this on there. This guy we're not going to set up until we actually... Oh, it's nighttime. Until we actually get like a full-size altar, because I normally like setting them up underneath the altar, because the altar doesn't have to be solid. It's just, you know, it ends up being like a pyramid, but it's hollow underneath. So... All right, what are these two little offshoot things? The blood altar normally can only transfer life essence at 20 millibuckets per tick using pipe. This can only be increased at higher tiers using displacement. Okay, good to know. Let's see here. Inspectorus Scandalum. All right, so if we toss a book into the blood altar with 1,000 LP, we should get this guy. And yeah, we have more than enough in there, so we'll let that kind of do its thing. Let's see here. Making an LP generating chest plate. The blood letters pack will slowly damage you of half health, generating and storing LP in itself. The coat of arms generates LP and stores it in itself when you are in combat. Both can be emptied into an altar by sneak right clicking on the altar itself. All right, so I guess we just make this guy for now, since we're not actually going to wear it. With the altar and everything like that, there's really no point for us to... Not the altar, but the nano beacons and everything. There's no point for us to actually worry about how much blood we're actually going to be getting. Is this just a... Yeah, this is just a normal Minecraft book. So why is this not doing anything? Oh, it's already done. Oh... So this helps you build it. So I think if I shift right click, next tier blood altar is missing, blood rune at... Okay, so this tells me where it is, but I don't think it shows me. We'll figure this out when we actually get it up and running here. All right, so I'm scared to open up my wireless charger now. All right, let's what do we need? We need some leather. And we need a blank slate, which is going to be stone in the altar itself. So we are going to automate this a little bit here. We're just going to toss down a chest. We're going to say extract on green, always active. Insert on green. And then we're going to say extract on brown, always active when we're actually ready to do it. And we're going to say insert on brown on this side. So we're gonna take the stone, place it in here, and this is actually going to give us blank runes. And then once we get our first one done, we can just toss a filter in here, and that should only take out the blank runes when they're complete. And then we can just kind of let this run, come back, fill it up with a little bit of a drinky poo there. There we go. And yeah, so we just got to wait for a few of these guys to finish up what they're doing, because the next thing that we need to do is do a tier 2 altar. And yeah. So it says place a ring of 8 blank runes, 1 block beneath the blood altar, to increase it to a tier 2. So when we get enough of these runes, what we're going to do is we're going to build this up like 6 blocks right here. So that it's a little bit higher up. We'll have to fly up to get to it, but that way when it actually comes to building it, we can just build down to the ground itself and not really have to worry about much. This thing takes forever. All right, we are back, and I did manage to, at least for now, automate the creation, well, semi-automate the creation of the blank slates here. So what I have is just a RF tools timer going into a repeater on 2 ticks. A single tick didn't have enough power to turn off the torch here. A hopper. So this is just storing 1 item. The moment the torch goes off, it gets kicked into the blood altar. Then once this is turned into a blank slate, it's picked up by this whitelist on the filter and brought into this chest over here. I have the delay set to 450. I could probably be safe at 400 ticks, but I just figure, you know, with a little bit of game lag and everything like that, having this have a little bit of extra time is not going to hurt. But I'm gonna have to sit here for the next couple hours and just kind of do this and watch it. So I'm probably gonna watch a movie or something, see what's on Netflix, and then I will bring you guys back as soon as we have enough slates to actually continue on. All right, so enough time has passed that I think we have accumulated enough slates. We have a little bit under a stack and a half here, so we're just gonna break all these goodies down and then reset this stuff up top once we actually get there. So we'll just make up the blank runes that we need now, because I'm not sure if we're gonna need a blank slate for anything else here. So we just needed 8. I made a few more than we needed, but you know, is what it is. All right, let's break this guy, and I actually want to see if what this tells us here. So if we do tier 1, yeah, it needs to be on an actual blood altar. So where are you? Right there. So you are tier 3, 4, tier 1. All right, so that is showing a tier 1. If we do tier 2, doesn't really seem to show anything. Oh, if you got to shift click it, there it is. So now it will show us where we have to put the blocks for the tier 2. So I just have a piece of glowstone underneath to give a little bit of light underneath as we are building this, but we can just set this up like this, and kind of like the environmental tech, these do have upgrades. So all right, so I think that means that we have a tier 2 blood altar, because I want to say the next block that it's telling us we're missing is like supposed to be like right here or something like that. Yeah, because this is the block that it's telling us that we're missing. So it's definitely looks like it's trying to tell us something about the tier 3, and that's, I believe, going to be where the pillar goes up. So tier 2 blood altar we'll consider done. So the next thing I actually want to do before we really get into anything else is I want to automate this guy. And in order to do that, we need this dagger right here. So this, we just need to toss an iron sword in here with 3000 LP. So let's grab our sword, and then we just need to fill this up with 3000 LP. There we go. And we'll just click that in and wait for that to finish. There we go. We have our dagger of sacrifice. Now, as long as we are utilizing this and taking out mobs within a few blocks of this altar, we should theoretically be getting credit for that. So I will be back in what for you guys is going to be a moment, and for me is going to be a little bit longer. And we are back. So I have done a little bit of work. I made myself a mob farm on top of this guy right here, and that is just so I can get knocked off. So I can use this dagger sacrifice if I want to instead of self-sacrifice. So this is not in any way, shape, or form a automated blood altar. So I would call this a partially automated blood altar. Now, the dagger of sacrifice will essentially pretty much one hit just about every mob as long as you're wielding it. I tried setting up a mechanical user and I was wrong. The mechanical user doesn't work with the dagger of sacrifice. It will hurt the mobs and they will eventually, succumb to the dagger itself. However, the blood doesn't actually go into the altar, and so we can't actually utilize this. I could have swore I've done that in the past, but I might have just been really new to the mod and like pretty much like I still am, and just not even noticed that it wasn't working because I was sitting here sacrificing as well. So this will essentially allow me just to get mobs if I want mobs, if I need demonic will, if I just, want to put on a macro and just sit here and, click, and then go to bed and just, run through a bunch of slates. I can do that, but this will all eventually get torn down and the mob farm will inevitably be down below. So what we'll end up doing is once we get the altar built up a certain way, probably at least up to tier 4, I think is what we're going to need to get, because we are going to need a lot more things. We'll do a ritual underneath the altar and we'll set that up with like witches or something like that, because they heal themselves. So they pretty much, infinite life source. So, we'll just get a spawner to get those guys going. But I just have this set up again. It's making more slates. What I do want to do is start looking into other things that we need to do. So I want to make a Divination Sigil. So it says for this, I need an alchemy array. So let's add you on here. So we need blank slate, redstone, and an array. And the alchemy is going to be down here with the Hellfire Forge. So we need to get this guy up and running here. So let's make him up real quick. Shouldn't be too hard, just iron block and some other goodies. And for now, we don't really need you close by, so we'll just toss you on down there. And then the next start is the actual alchemy, or the Arcane Ashes, which is what we're going to need for the arrays themselves. So it says Arcane Ashes are an integral component in alchemy arrays. Place the ashes on the ground, then place a regent, and then place the catalyst. So in our case, the regent is going to be redstone, and then the catalyst is going to be the blank slates. So in order to make the Arcane Ashes, we need to take some white dye, bone meal, coal, redstone, and gunpowder. And then we're actually going to power this with either a Tartaric gem. I believe we can just use regular will. Yeah, we can just use will as well, because I'm not sure if we can make the gems yet. So the petty Tartaric is redstone, gold, and all this other stuff. Because this, we can, I believe we can actually toss the demonic wills into this to get more. And I think there's another way to fill these guys up as well. But we'll kind of, let me see, does the quest line actually get us into this? It does. So Tartaric gems work sort of like batteries for will. They absorb demonic will that you pick up while in your inventory. The gem with the fuel can be used for sorting. All right, well, let's just do gold, glass. Does it have to be? Okay, gold, glass, and what can we use? Lapis. All right, there we go. For some reason I had the iron in there. Not sure why, but this should make ourselves a gem here. And then if we come over here, if we come and take, let's say 2.35, I believe when we pick this up, yeah, it goes into the gem itself. So we can use this for storage of our will. So we can just kind of take some of the bigger ones that we have out. And as you can see, that's filling up. And then we can upgrade these as we go, but we're also going to need to do something to actually automate the collection of will. But I'm going to have to look into that because I don't remember what weapon that we actually have to use. Pretty sure it's one of the ones that we're going to be making a little bit later in the pack here. But let me sleep the night off here. All right, so we have our battery and now we can make our ash. So what was the recipe for this again? Bone, redstone, gunpowder. Okay. So let's take gunpowder, redstone, this, and a piece of coal, and we can just toss our petty tartaric gem in here, and that should craft us up what we need. We have our arcane ash. So we take this and toss that on the ground. We can then hit it with a piece of redstone, and then I believe we just have to hit it with the blank slate. And this should give us what we need here, which should be one of our first sigils, I believe. There we go. And all that this guy really does is going to tell us what the altar is. So remember before when we came up here and we looked at the altar, it just said, it just said blood altar. If we hold it and look at the altar, it says blood altar tier 2. And if we shift right click on it, it'll tell us how much LP we currently have in the system itself. So that's all that really does. All right. And then this is what I was looking for, the Sentient Sword. So monsters have a chance of dropping of will. So this is how we're going to automate our collection of will here. And honestly, because we're not really utilizing this, we could just set this up to use the Sentient Blade here. So give me the recipe here. So we need a petty tartaric gem and an iron sword. So we should probably just make ourselves another gem here. And then we just need to toss the sword back in along with our empty tartaric gem. And this should give us our Sentient Sword. This way, when we turn on our item slot right here, see, always on, we'll just say entity, and we want it to left click with upper left slot only. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a filter in this guy, and we're going to say pick up will. So we have it set up just like this one here. So we have whitelist, we're ignore metadata, we're not ordicking it, and we're ignoring MBT. However, then we're going to take one and we're going to put it on blacklist here. So we can come over here and to our trash can, and this guy is going to pick up everything else except for the will. So we just have to kind of remember that when we're up here, we don't necessarily want everything to, we don't want to drop anything because it's going to get picked up by that trash can and gobbled up on us, which is not going to be fantastic. Right. So now if we turn this on, it's just going to do its thing with these mobs. And if we grab some upgrades, we only have 2 for now, but that's just going to keep on going. And it should be, yeah, we are collecting demonic will right here. So we'll let that run. Eventually it is going to break. I'm not sure if 100% sure if we can actually stuff and things enchant these guys, but they're not very difficult to make. So, we could theoretically just, put 9 of them in there and then let that guy run and then just sit here as we need to and fill up our blood altar as we're making slates. But we'll turn off the mob noises for now. And then also, if we really wanted to get even more into it, we could, toss something in here to collect all the XP and just toss that into a trash can, because we still have that farm over there with like 600 some levels in it that we can access at any given time. So this is kind of an either or thing. I can sit here and take out the mobs with this sword, or I can just let it do that to collect demonic will. So, and then these other guys down here are just going to be like the tools and stuff, but we don't necessarily need to get into that right now. Like Spectral Tools, if you have a tartaric gem, with at least 1000 will, you can throw a sentient tool or sword and it will come to life, following and protecting you. So I mean, it's pretty cool. Like don't get me wrong, blood magic has some pretty cool stuff to it. I just, you know, like I said, for me it's just more of one of those mods that you end up doing to get through stuff. So but it is a pretty cool mod, and it does actually, some of the armor gets pretty insane because, you know, you're supposed to be sacrificing yourself. So there's armor that will give us pretty much just as many hearts as we have right now. So just not the same armor level. But I'm gonna sleep again. So the next thing I want to get into is actually upgrading to a tier 3 altar. And for that, let me just take this and set it at tier 3. We'll shift right click. This is essentially the structure that we are going to have to make. So we're going to have to grab a few more slates. There we go. And then that way, if we take our Divination Sigil here and right click on it, we are now tier 3. I don't believe that means that we can hold any more LP. It just means that we theoretically, we just have, I shouldn't say theoretically, we just have more slots for modifiers, which is what we're about to get into here. All right, so the first thing I want to look for is the runes of sacrifice here. So these are actually, or I'm sorry, the runes of self-sacrifice. These are going to give me more LP when I use the sacrifice dagger. So we're going to need, I believe, an apprentice level blood orb here. So we just need a block of redstone. We'll just pop that in there. But we got our blood orb, and so we should actually be able to make our runes of self-sacrifice here. I'm gonna start off with 8 of them. What am I missing here? Oh, reinforced slates. Okay, so we need to take blank slates and toss them back through. All right, we finally got one reinforced slate. This is was not turning out very well for us. So we'll toss that in there. And now when this goes through, it should theoretically just take it out when it gets to a reinforced slate. And then what we can do is actually make our first self-sacrifice. So this should give me like an extra percentage towards our LP. And I forgot that I have the the item thing on. I should probably set it to blacklist all runes as well. That's probably going to be the smart thing to do. But wow. All right. Yeah, I'm going to have to sit here and wait for all this stuff to finish up and just kind of babysit this. So I'll be back once I have all of the runes of self-sacrifice here, so we can continue on. So after a lot more AFKing, I managed to fully upgrade this blood altar and replaced all of the blank slates or the blank runes with runes of self-sacrifice. So now when I'm actually doing a sacrifice with the dagger itself, it gives me like 300 some LP as opposed to the 200 regularly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to AFK overnight here. And I have a little macro set up. So if I just hit the button on my mouse, it's just going to sit here, and about once a second or once every second and a half, I believe, it's going to shift, going to do the sacrifice, and then unshift, and then it waits about a second and a half to start it again. So that should fill up everything, and then I will just fill this chest up with a bunch of stone and just make a bunch of slates. Because what we can do now that we actually have this all set up like this is we don't really need to wait for, tier 4, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. We can, once you have the slates, you can build the entire structure up to the tier 5, because really all we're going to need is, I believe, some glowstone lamps and then some beacons for the final one. So yeah, once you have the slates, it can go pretty quickly. The only slow part then is going to be making more of these runes, because we're going to have to make some runes for capacity so that we can actually hold more than 10,000 millibuckets of life essence, and So then next episode, we'll actually get into one of the rituals, which will be the Ritual of Suffering, which will allow us to actually keep this guy full on LP pretty much for here until, you know, we decide to shut this server down, as long as we have it running. So I'm going to AFK and make preps for all of that. But as of right now, we are going to call it an episode there. So we didn't get quite as far into blood magic as I had hoped, but that was mainly because of the fact that I forgot how long and how slow this mod is in the early stages of it. So I do apologize if we didn't get a whole lot done today, but hopefully I was able to instill a little bit of knowledge as far as this mod is concerned, and we'll definitely get more into it as the pack goes on. But as always, guys, hey, if you enjoyed the episode, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps me out greatly. And until next time, be safe, stay awesome, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.